Hi, so this week we're going to be taking a look at one of the trickier topics in statistics, but we're going to work really hard over the next 2 weeks to try to break this down and understand it, and it's hypothesis testing. So what is hypothesis testing in statistics? Well, before we do that, let's define what a hypothesis is. A hypothesis is a claim or statement about a property of a population. We'll say about an aspect of a population. So if a hypothesis is a claim or statement about an aspect of a population, a hypothesis test is a procedure for testing a claim about a hypothesis. So a hypothesis testing is a procedure to test the claim about a hypothesis. So we're going to go through the steps for hypothesis testing this week, and those are as follows. The first thing you're going to want to do is set up your null or alternative hypothesis. Then you're going to want to test your claim. Ooh, I want to back this up. We're going to set up the null and alternative hypothesis, and we're also going to want to mark the claim. Then we're going to test our claim and find a p-value. Then we're going to decide, do we reject or fail to reject the null hypothesis? And then finally, we will state our conclusion. So now the last thing we're going to take a look at this week is we're going to practice a lot setting up a null and alternative hypothesis for these situations. So let's take a look at the first example. The first example says, eating cookies helps you live longer. That seems to be a claim or a hypothesis. It says, if it is known that the average life expectancy of a female in the United States is 78.69 years with a standard deviation of 5.2 years, researchers monitor a group of 75 women who eat at least 4 cookies per week for their lives. Seems like a good life. And the sample has an average life expectancy of 76.2 with a standard deviation of 9.7. Does this data support the conclusion support the hypothesis that eating cookies help you live longer? Well, you can see that we're making a claim about the mean, right? So when it comes time to draw our null and alternative hypothesis, we're going to do two things. We're going to have a null hypothesis, which we call H0, and we're going to have an alternative hypothesis, which we will call H1. This is sometimes called HA. So either H1 or HA. So what is our claim? It says eating cookies helps you live longer. Well, longer than what? Longer than the average person, right? We are making a claim about a mean, right? Since we know that the average life expectancy of a female is 78.69, then what we are claiming is that the females who eat cookies will live longer than 78.69. Now, what we're going to do here is anytime we are doing a greater than or less than, that is always going to fall underneath the alternative hypothesis. We'll go a lot more in depth in this, but the alternative hypothesis is that the mean is going to be greater than 78.69, because we're saying if somebody eats cookies, that they will live longer than 78.69, and I'm going to mark this one as the claim. Then the alternative, what would the alternative be? Well, if there is no difference, then it would be that the mean is equal to 78.69. So this would be the alternative hypothesis, because if cookies does not help you live longer, then this average would be the same as the average of all other women. Now, there are going to be a lot of steps that we do past this point, but it's very key that we get this process of getting the null and alternative hypothesis down. The next one says, a company claims that half of people who use their hair loss treatment will regrow their hair. A study found that of 121 people who underwent the hair loss treatment, 62% of those were able to regrow their hair. Does this data support the company's claim? They are claiming that the percent of that half of people, right? So when it comes time to do our null and alternative hypothesis, the claim is that half, so that's equal to 0.5 or 50%. We always put the equal value over here. So we are claiming that the percentage of people who will regrow their hair is equal to 0.5, and this is going to be our claim. Well, if that's not the case, then P would be not equal to 0.5. So we are claiming that half, right? So we used an equal sign for our claim. So then our alternative is going to be that it's not equal to half.